Listen to me, motherfucker. I'm talking. I say horrible things sometimes because I think they're funny. My podcast is a verbal mosh pit because it's just me pinwheeling around. You don't know where the fuck I'm going to wind up, and I generally have no idea when it's going to end or start. I'm responsible for this whole goddamn thing. I want a little respect from you people. Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast. Lily just hit me in the face, folks. Because she was going to start up the show like a little start me up action, and there's a little back and forth where she'll reach over and she'll touch my nose, and then I do a show. It's like the Nutcracker. We've talked about this. Well, this time she got real close to my nose and then pulled away, and I wouldn't talk because I got to be activated, folks. And then she fucking slapped me in the face, like literally.
I went to touch your nose.
And then you fucking thwacked me with a Wolverine paw.
And I missed.
Nah, you went straight up badger paw and you clawed my face. Admit it. Yes, you did. You know you did. This is why, no, and you did it again, and now you do it again?
That wasn't a smack.
She just scratched my face, dudes. You know what it's going to look like? I pray to God that Lily does not get raped tonight, because now my skin is underneath her fingernails. So they're going to go ahead and bring her in for the analysis, and they're going to be like, it turns out that your friend Mike did it? No, it wasn't him. She would know if it was me. All right, folks, now I got a scratched up face. That's not good. It's going to feel bad. And I shaved earlier today, so it's like I already got a, well, all right. Well, I'll get to that later. Should I tell that? No, I'll get to it later. I shouldn't even tell it now. All right. My face is like, because I keep forgetting to put on, like, aftershave. Like, I have awesome, and the aftershave I really like is I use Clubman, because I like to smell like old school. But now I have a scratched up face, so now when I get home, I'll throw it in and it'll burn. Do I have to tell this? All right, fuck. I don't want to. I was going to tell this later in the show, but now it's just come up. All right, folks. Are you familiar with the tale of Solomon Grundy? Solomon Grundy's half dirty because he washed his left arm on Monday, he washed his left leg on Tuesday, he washed his left ear on Wednesday, and by the end of the week, poor Solomon Grundy, he's still half dirty. All right, so I come to you today fairly Solomon Grundied, and here's why, folks. Here's the day I had today. Well. Fuck, this is going to be, I didn't want to, this was going to be later on, but now it's come up now. All right, you know what? I'll get to it later. Whatever, it ties in. No, I'll get to it. Remind me to get to it later, because I'll get into it later. What do you, why, you have too much hair in your vagina to remember these things? We have an experiment, folks. We have an experiment, because Lily has told me that before we went on the air, she ran down this crazy litany of underwear rules. I understand you were joking, and you understand that you were joking. But she ran down a litany of underwear rules, like what she follows, when she wears a boxer brief, when she wears a G-string, why she can or can't, what she needs to do, what she fits inside of those pairs. And then she looks at me and she goes, "Don't you dare say this on the air, because I will edit it all out, and don't think that I won't." So here's an experiment, folks. Here's why. She said that she would put her own voice in, saying, this is Mike violating my personal privacy, and I've gone ahead and taken out this chunk of material. So I haven't exactly touched on what she said, so I want to see if this is enough to get me edited, and I also want to see if she puts her voice in there, if she's got the balls to go through with it. Which, by the way, her balls are, that's why she wears a boxer brief and a G-string, and why she, because of what she's able to fit in there, and how much she's able to fit in there, and what she puts to the side, and everything else. Well, but you were kidding, right? Why would you hate me? You know you were kidding. That's what you said. And then is that why you scratched my face up with your crazy platypus hand? Do platypus have nails? I don't know if they do. Claws? I'm not sure. They do? All right. Well, let's look that up, folks. Let's look that up. Yeah, so now I have a scratched up face. And, all right, I wasn't going to get to this. All right, folks, here's the thing. It's been a rough week for my cock. All right, let's go ahead and talk about that. I wasn't going to talk about it till later, but unfortunately, now that I have my face clawed up, here's the thing. First of all, let me tell you this. My wife was out of town, as I've mentioned. My wife was out of town, and so that was 2 weeks ago. So last week she came home, and then I talked about it on the show. And, you know what? Let's talk about this real quick. I need to mention this because I forgot to mention it last week. Folks, I watched a movie called Big Fan with Patton Oswalt. I will tell you, it was a great movie. I really enjoyed it. I thought Patton did a great job in it. Here's what that show's about. What are you're giving a thumbs
I
up?
saw it too. It was great.
Oh, you like that movie?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I liked it too. And it was a movie I had wanted to see at the movies, and then wound up not getting to see it because I didn't feel like Drag and Karen would make sense. It's about football players, and I'll tell you what, just a depressing slice of life, folks. It is that kind of movie. But you might recall a couple of weeks ago I was talking about LeBron James and Mel Gibson and about how you should take what you can from celebrities, extrapolate whatever you want from them, but don't invest in them in any way because they're going to let you down inevitably in the long run. Well, I mentioned my run-in with Marcus. Marcus works at a parking garage in Hollywood and Highland, and when I was leaving, Marcus looked at me and goes, "Hey, enjoy Game 7 tomorrow, sir." And I said, that's the essence of sports. A guy who works deeper in the earth than a corpse and inhaling car fumes all day, he looks forward to sports. That's who he is. He looks forward to sports, and that's what sports is. It's not these, big guys, champagne, and, it's guys like that who it gets them through their day-to-day existence. Then I watch Big Fan. Big Fan is about a guy who works in a toll booth, like in a parking garage, and all he does is look forward to the Giants games on Sunday, the New York Football Giants. And I'm like, I watch it, and I'm like, Jesus, I just talked about this. I just talked about this on the show, and the movie is essentially what I said. I mean, it was crazy. And it's a movie I know about that movie, but I didn't know what it was. I knew what it was about, but I didn't know the actual details. So to see it was just, I got to admit, it was like a gut punch because now I feel like I ripped it off, but I didn't because I didn't know about it. But Jesus, was it odd. It's about a guy who works in a parking garage, and all he does is look forward to sporting events. Jesus. So I don't know why I bring it up. I bring it up to say I didn't rip off Big Fan. I saw it after the fact. And I did. I loved it. So it goes. You should see it. It's available on. It's on cable. It's probably on demand. I don't have on demand. I have DirecTV. Satellite. This is weird. DirecTV does not have an on demand. Like HBO has an on demand, Showtime, but DirecTV does not allow you to have the on demand. I don't know if it. But I mean, if you have a satellite dish, shouldn't everything be on demand? Because it's all coming from space. Like, shouldn't I be able to push a button and it shows me like astronauts or whatever the fuck? Because I mean, the satellites are in space. So if I want something, it seems, because again, cables and wires, that's not like a satellite. All right. I don't know how things work in the world. I'm thrown because I wasn't going to talk about that other thing until later. All right. All right. So here's the thing. Karen's out of town. She comes back into town. And, we're going to involve ourselves in activities that grown people involve themselves in, particularly married people. Or non-married people. I don't care. Whoever does it, does it. Teenagers do it. Preteens are doing it now. Everybody's doing it, folks. Doing it. What am I? Hi, I'm a soul singer from the 70s. It's good to be here. Lily and I just spent an hour singing Starpoint and fucking Midnight Star because she bought No Parking on the Dance Floor on the iTunes. I go, I own that song. Should have told me. I said, I get that fucking tune. I bought that. I bought Object of My Desire by Starpoint. That's right. Any cheesy 80s. It's funny because when I grew up, I was like obviously I was a hair metal guy in the 80s, and then there were like the subgenres. Like, all right, let's put it. MTV premiered, okay, and then they basically started showing you a bunch of metal, and then they started showing Michael Jackson. So hair metal prospered because of MTV, but then there was MTV did not realize that black people existed until Michael Jackson came along, and then they went, oh wait, we can show some black people, fantastic. So what you would have to do is there would have to be, when I was a kid, at least in the 80s, there were UHF stations that would show videos in Chicago, and they would show the videos you couldn't see on MTV. So you would turn it on, and that's where you would see Midnight Star, or you would see Starpoint, or you would see Expose. You would see, not Expose. Expose was a little later. But any of those bands, like DeBarge, any of these like black bands from the 80s, you would see their videos, and I loved that music. Is that cheesy fucking like synthesizer dance music? Oh my god, do I love it? Because there was synthesizer dance music like Yaz, but then there was like crazy black people synthesizer dance, awful, terrible, cheesy. Like I said, Starpoint, Object of My Desire, I fucking love that song. Jesus Christ, do I love that song. And then I thought about it the other day. I heard it on my XM, and I'm like, fuck, I don't own that song. I got to get it. And Ready for the World, like bands like Ready for the World. Dude, I love Ready for the... Oh, Sheila? Who doesn't love Oh, Sheila? Oh, Sheila's the greatest. Fucking Snapper came over to do my taxes, and we were talking, and Snapper's a dancer. Red Snapper's a dancer, friend of Lily's, and she also does taxes in a G-string. Now, if Lily does your taxes, I'm not sure what kind of underwear she would wear because, again, she has all these different rules for all this different underwear that she wears. Oh, she thinks she's going to edit it. All right, go ahead and write it down. But I haven't said anything. Again, if I said the terrible things, then you could do it. I guess you'd be upset. And who are you to get upset? You're sitting here in a tank top and underwear. All right. How am I not gonna talk about that? How am I not gonna bring that up? Especially when I sat here for an hour going, you know what? I didn't do anything this past week. I don't know what the hell I'm going to talk about. Because I knew I had hip-pocketed cock abuse. All right, so... all right, so... Cheesy... Huh?
Snapper and you.
Oh, so Snapper's doing taxes, and then she mentioned... I don't know how we got on the subject of Ready for the World. I think because with my this is, by the way, why my tax situation is so bad. I think I spent $100 on Oh Sheila t-shirts. I don't know, maybe... Something like that came up, but we wound up talking about Ready for the World, and she was just like, "Oh my God, I used to listen to it all the time." And I go, "Really, Ready for the World?" She goes, "Yeah." I go, "Okay, hold on." And I just popped up because again, I have 18,000 songs. I just started playing the entire album. She's like, "Oh my God," she's listening while doing my taxes, and then took her clothes off. Didn't. It's so weird. It's weird. No, it's not weird. I mean, I guess it would be like if people came up to me and wanted me to do comedy. You know what I mean? All the time. Like if I'm with burlesque people and I want them to take their clothes off in my house. You can't ask him to do that, right? It's like I said, it's like if somebody, it's like in an Elvis movie. All right, here it is. And there's a movie called Loving You, and Elvis is eating at a diner, and the guy, and Elvis, I think, by the way, Elvis's name in this is Deke Rivers. Elvis was always a Mike or a Deke. He always had like a K in his name. So Elvis is eating at this diner, and he had just performed at the fair or whatever the fuck, and all these girls are like, "Ooh, it's Deke Rivers." And there's one dude who's got like a pompadour. He looks like evil Elvis because he has he's kind of like gangly and big like Elvis. He's got the same kind of haircut, but he's got like a hillbilly jaw, like a crazy fucking eat an apple through a picket fence type of jaw, and big fucking choppers, picket fence choppers. He's got a picket fence that he can eat an apple through a picket fence with his picket fence. So he's jealous that all the women love Deke Rivers. So he comes over to Elvis and he's like, "Hey, Sideburns, my girlfriend wants to hear you sing." And I was like, "Say, man, I'm just having a Sunday." And the guy's like, "Say, man, but my girl, you can't make me look bad in front of my girl, Sideburns. Why don't you just sing a song?" And I was just like, "Man, you know what? I'm just trying to eat a sandwich, man." And this guy's like, "Come on, why don't you just come on, sing a song, man?" And then I was just like, and he looks at his the people he's sitting with, and so he stands up and he plays the jukebox, and the jukebox for some reason plays an instrumental. I have no idea. I mean, I've been to a lot of places, a lot that have jukeboxes, and not a lot of them have an instrumental original. That's even the craziest part. An original song instrumental. Like, not even, if it had an instrumental like Sinatra song or something like that, you'd go, "Oh, okay, well, that makes sense. It's maybe a B-side or, deep cut." But no, this is an instrumental original song that no one's ever heard before in their life. But Elvis puts money in, and it starts playing out of the jukebox, and then he sings. And he jumps all over and he's clapping and he's singing, and the best part of it, if you ever watch the scene, you could probably Google "Loving You" and find the scene where Deke Rivers gets in and he sings. All the women are dancing and people are all the teenagers at the mall shop are grooving, and fucking picket fence is just sitting in a booth furious, like he's as if he couldn't be more jealous. He hates Elvis even more now because Elvis took him up on his bullshit and now has won over the entire diner. Which I don't understand why Picket Fence is upset, because it's not like the rest of the diner loved him first and now they love Elvis, and a transference of love via the original and the jukebox. No. These people loved eating at a malt shop, and then all of a sudden Elvis showed up as Deke Rivers, and they were like, "Hey, we kind of like him. Let's hear a song." It wasn't like they were all like, "Oh, dude, you're the greatest," fake Elvis, weird-looking, non-Deke Rivers guy. Yeah, I'm babbling. So Elvis gets up and he sings, and he finishes the song, and he comes over, and this Elvis, just a genius. He comes over to the guy. Picket Fence is just sitting there depressed, and Elvis goes, "Say, man, what do you do for a living?" And the guy goes, "I work." I think first the guy says like, "Sideburns, I guess you can really sing." Like he's begrudgingly, admitting that Elvis is okay, trying to, glom onto the Elvis gravy train and have people love him a little bit too. He's like, "Well, I guess you can really sing." And then he goes, "Well, hey man, what do you do for a living?" And the guy goes, "I work out my old man's auto parts out on Route 4, whatever. I don't even know the name of the road." And Elvis goes, "Well, say man, I done what I do for you. Why don't you get up and put a new set of seat covers on my car?" And the guy goes, "Why, sure, Sideburns. What color you want?" And he stands up and he goes, "I think his color's yellow. What do you folks think?" And Elvis throws a right hand from Mississippi State line. I mean, like the craziest punch, the greatest movie punch. Just like it's you can see it coming. It has a fucking horn. It's just like coming up the highway as the guy's like, "What's his? I think his color's yellow. What do you punch?" And he punches picket fence right in the picket fence. And he goes flying across the goddamn restaurant, and then they have a crazy movie brawl where it's just, nobody throws a jab in an Elvis movie, okay? Nobody, not even in Kid Galahad did they throw jabs. It was all fucking haymakers from the jump. So Elvis and this guy are just throwing haymakers in the restaurant, and everybody's screaming and panicking, and Deke Rivers is just throwing these huge bombs, and then Elvis is getting punched, and Elvis gets knocked, here's the great part, Elvis gets punched and knocked back into a booth, and it's a typical movie star thing, like he lands in the booth, and he gets framed like, oh man, I'm mad now, and he climbs out of the booth, and then he kicks the shit out of picket fence right there, and then the guy falls down, and the best part is like a crazy music, like fast, another original comes out of the jukebox, perfect for fighting in a restaurant. I don't know, let's analyze that. If you own a restaurant, and you have a jukebox, and you're lucky enough to have instrumental originals on that jukebox, why would you put an instrumental original that's perfect for fighting in a restaurant? You own a restaurant. You're asking for trouble. The second someone plays perfect for fighting in a restaurant side A, your restaurant's getting trashed by everybody who are going to be fighting in that goddamn restaurant because the music is perfect for it. You walked right into that goddamn situation. Ha ha ha! Oh, Jesus, that's funny. That's a lot of talking to get to that joke, but that joke paid it all off. So Elvis and Double Picket Fence are fucking flying all over the goddamn restaurant, and then finally Elvis lands a huge knockout blow. The guy falls on the jukebox, like sprawls, and then Elvis does that weird move where he puts his foot under the guy's heel and kicks his heel out, and the guy slides down to the ground. Why did I get into this? Why did I?
I have no idea.
Why did I get into Elvis fighting Double Picket Fence?
Oh, because strippers doing taxes. You can't just ask him to strip.
Oh, you can't ask anybody to do their job for you. All right, good. Okay. So yeah, that's the bottom line. Like I can't. It's life is not an Elvis movie. I think that's the bottom line for you folks. Life, unfortunately, is not an Elvis movie.
You're listening to The 40-Year-Old Boy, and later, The Jerk-Off Journals, two guys who are really in touch with themselves.
Do you use lube or you go dry?
I actually go dry most of the time.
I do too now.
Yeah, that's a good plan.
I used to use lube all the time, but you know what? I found that, all the times I jerked off, my dick was really, really smooth, but the rest of my skin was all dry.
So you're like the creature of the Black Lagoon, but with a great cock. That's hilarious. I go dry because I don't want to, if you ever run out of lotion, I don't want to be stumped for what to do. And believe me, the second you wind up jerking off with mustard, it changes everything.
Mama always told me not to look into the eyes of the sun, but Mama, that's where the fun is. The Jerk-Off Journals on the Mike Schmidt Podcasting Network.
Was that Grey Poupon?
Mr. Telephone Man, there's something wrong with my line. That's right, 80s, goddammit. That was another video that you would see. That and Candy Girl, little Candy Girl from New Edition. Oh, You Is My World. You is my world. Way to go, fellas. Way to advance the discourse on education in this country with your line in Candy Girl. You is my world. I don't know who to yell at. Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, or Mike. Look, if I love the girl, who cares who you like? Cool it now! That's right. I'm going to do all of New Edition's biggest hits. And then Johnny Gill's going to come here and ask me to go out with him. All right, he might be gay. That's what I heard. I don't know. I've outed him a couple of times on this show, Johnny Gill. My. Why would I do that? All right, folks, I am into the 80s and black people, apparently. That's what I like. I like black people from the 80s. That's who I like now. I like Webster. I like Prince. I like all those people. I like Alex Shaw. I like Darren Chisholm. I like everybody I went to school with. All the black guys I went to, I like Billy Rohr. I like him. I like Kenny Mitchell. These are all guys I went to school with, black guys. I like them all. That's right. I embrace Leanne Doherty. I like her. I embrace her. Why am I using last names? All these people are on Facebook. I got to stop. God damn it. But I embrace them, all of them. African Americans, all. People I knew as a child. All right, so that's what I like. I like black people from the 80s. Who else would I like then? That's I'm trying to remember. Oh, dude, the first time I ever saw When Doves Cry was on the UHF station, and I saw it when I was in Chicago. Oh, it was so funny. We went to my mom had friends. There was a woman named Karen Bruder, and she was just she was just all right. My mom grew up in Chicago, so my mom, tough Chicago broad. So she, of course, surrounded herself with tough Chicago broads. Like they were in like gang as kids. I don't fucking know what they did. All I know is like my mom. Literally, my mom would tell me stories that she would beat up boys and make them eat worms. Like my mom was that person as a child, and as an adult. And I cannot tell you how many sick I got of the worms. All right. My mom was rough. My mom's a tooth chipper. I mean, I can't get around it. But she had friends like that, like this Karen Bruder was like, oh, we would go see her. And you know what? She fit the name. Absolutely fit the name. Just this big, kind of burly, two-fisted, Hams beer drinking woman, that kind of deal. And she lived in a brownstone in Chicago. Not a brownstone. I don't know if they were brownstones. They're brownstones in New York, but I don't know if in Chicago they were called brownstones. They were brick houses. But they were all like next to one another. I don't know how to explain it. Like they weren't. It's in Chicago. It's in the city. You walk down the street, they all look the same. There's like these brick houses. They're mighty. They're letting it all hang out, folks. God damn it, black people from the 70s. I embrace them as well. I love black people from every era. The 50s, the 40s, the 10s. I don't know. Nat Turner, when's he from? Slave Rebellion. I'm on board with him. Nat Turner, you're my guy. All right. Who invented the peanut? George Washington Carver? I'm with him.
Holy Christ.
All right. Yeah, that's right. I am embracing black people. This is not even February. And yet I reach out. All right. Folks. So we went down one time. Like Karen Bruder and my mom lived together in Chicago. Well, they knew each other in Chicago. But then my mom moved, got married, went to the suburbs and all that stuff. It didn't soften my mom, but I'll tell you who it softened, her kids, because we grew up in the fucking suburbs, so we didn't know anything about the city. But then we would go visit Karen Bruder in the city, and she had kids, and they were city kids. So it's essentially, it's like, country mouse and city mouse. We weren't exactly country mice. You know who we were? It was more like we were mice and they were rats. Like, let's put it that way. Like, we were kind of domesticated and we liked cheese, and they would, run up your leg and bite you in the ear. Like that kind of thing. I don't know if that's what rats do. Although I should know that, quite frankly, because here, folks, I dovetail into this goddamn story. I did a show a couple of weeks ago at a place in Hollywood. I'm not going to say the name of it. And when you hear the story, you'll hear why. But it was a show I did for an organization that has whatever. It was Comedy Film Nerds at Cinespace. What the fuck do I care? So Comedy Film Nerds asked me to do a show. And let's get this out of the way, because I know you're all wondering. Yes, I did bomb. Badly. Fucking chewed it in front of this room full of people because it was, it was still daylight outside. But again, it's not on them, it's on me. Because here's why, folks. I tried to bring Podcast Mike to the Comedy Film Nerd show. Nobody there knows the fuck Podcast Mike is. So when Podcast Mike dovetails into an Elvis bit and then talks about a rat and then talks about black people from the 80s, everybody goes, well, is this guy going to tell a joke at any point? I mean, is he going to slow the fuck down so we can actually breathe and listen to what he's fucking saying? Because I wind up talking too fast. I'm trying to, the one man is going to be a goddamn blur. It's just going to be... Yeah, it's just going to be like it's going to be a verbal version of watching a security camera. You know what I mean? Where you just consistent motion in and out, like you don't know what the fuck's happening. God, I got to fucking rein that in. All right. And the good news is I only have 3 weeks to rein it in and write it. Yes. So, I'm there for the Cinespace show, and it's me and my friend Chris Mancini. Betsy Salkind is there to do a set. Frank Conniff, and those are all very funny comedians. And then there's me, and in between they're going to be showing movie shorts. Again, it's like the standard Comedy Film Nerds thing. But it was put together by Hollywood Shorts, which I guess is an outfit that is now supporting a lot of people, filmmakers who make short films. So Chris goes up on stage and he did about 10 or 15 minutes up top. Did very well. The people there, they liked him, but I will tell you this. This is 2 weeks ago. Chris goes up and he says, "Hey, I went and saw Inception, which had opened that weekend. And do you need that closer to you?"
No, I'm fine.
You sure?
I'm positive.
You're positive.
Yes. What is wrong?
Well, it's because it's gonna you're not on there. I just feel it's not.
There. That's all that can be.
Lily had to put her legs up, and so she opened up like a step ladder, to put her across her legs and put it up. But her heel is right on the very edge of it, and it looks like it's gonna fall off. Like it's like. I know that's putting pressure on your knee that it shouldn't put. Like if you moved it closer, it would rest and alleviate more of the stuff. That's creepy. All right, so that can't feel good. So where was I? So Chris a couple weeks ago. Damn it, move it closer.
Christ. right.
I'll move it for you. That's the thing. Yay. All right, there you go. Much closer. And then you can look at that. See, now your whole calf and stuff is on there.
Except it's not.
It feels
The
much
heel
better.
of my foot
Well, then, here, let's do
I
this.
don't want my calf on it.
But it should, because then your knee won't
I don't want my calf on it.
do what I say.
No.
So, do you want to move farther away back to where you were? I am serious. I can't. Come on. How am I supposed to focus?
There. How's that?
I guess it's fine. All right. So, is that comfortable with the
Yes,
certain
it's
underwear? Is this the
wonderful.
underwear you need to wear to put your legs up like that? Because I know you have a lot of in and the out with the underwear, and how you going to go ahead and change that? Yeah, I can't wait to hear your dulcet tones all over this. Michael, I had to take out a thing. Whatever. All right. So Chris goes up 2 weeks ago when Inception opened, and he goes, "Hey, I saw Inception last night." Now, here's what I think. Some of my friends and folks, I don't know if you know anything about me, other than the fact that I talk in circles and I like black people from different eras. But one of the things was the only movie I really wanted to see this summer was Inception. And I had not seen it up to this point, and Chris decided he was going to talk about Inception. This is the Saturday. It opened, Thursday or Friday of that week. And I can't have that, folks. I mean, I can't hear anybody. I don't care if you like it. I don't care if you hate it. Because I will tell you this, my friend Pat did not like Inception, which I found out from his tweets the next day about, he sent like 4 tweets about how he did not enjoy it. And I don't want to fucking hear that. I mean, I'll be able to make my own decision and I'm seeing it anyway, but it's like, and it's my fault for not seeing it right away, okay? I guess that's the thing, because the immediacy of social networking, I should be seeing everything right when it fucking comes out, especially the one thing that I really wanted to see. But unfortunately, my schedule, like I said, Karen was out of town that weekend, or else I would have seen it. And we actually bought tickets. I was going to see it Saturday morning at 10 a.m., but I stayed up all night because, again, my schedule, I was up all night Friday, and then by 9 o'clock Saturday morning, because it's a 3-hour movie, I'm like, oh, man, I can't make it. So we had to go get passes to go see it at another time, so I still haven't been able to see Inception. But 2 weeks ago when it opened, Chris decided he was going to talk about it on stage, which is fine. Again, that's on me. I haven't seen it yet. So I'm in the back, and I'm sitting, there's a guy who listens to the show named Alfonso, who for some reason has made it his life's mission to come to every live show that I do. Literally, from now to the end of time, if I do a live show, I guarantee Alfonso will be. He's the only person who will come. There will be nobody else there, and good for him. Thanks. I'm glad he comes. I can't understand the appeal, quite frankly, but he shows up, and good on him. So but also I will say this at the time, because the other people I know are all sitting in the front. So Alfonso and I sit in the back. Like, I actually joined him. I'm like, I can't do this. So I'm sitting in the back, and he starts to talk about Inception. So I will tell you that we were at a booth, and it was a long booth, so there were 2 other people sitting there as well, who I don't know, and quite frankly don't care to know, because they were not black and they were from this era. So, wait, am I saying I don't care for black people from 2010? That's incorrect. I care. You know who I care about? The Cali Swag Society. Because I want them to teach me how to Dougie, teach me how to Dougie, teach me how to Dougie, teach me how to Dougie. God damn it, I can't get that out of my head. I heard it on XM. All right, there's a song, I don't know if you folks are familiar with the Dougie. Okay, there's a song called Teach Me How to Dougie, teach me how to Dougie. And that's the chorus, all right? But then the actual verses, it just sounds like, black guys high on cough syrup rapping. Because that's what rap has become. Because when I was a kid, again, black from the 80s, LL Cool J, Big Daddy Kane, Public Enemy, that was the rap that I grew up with, that I fucking loved, because I loved battle raps and rappers that hated one another and wanted to and the thing is, they hated one another and they wanted to shoot each other with words. That was great. When LL Cool J took out fucking Kool Moe Dee on Jack the Ripper, I was like, dude, this is the fucking best. And I would sit there and listen to every word, and I absorb it until I could actually rap it, and I loved it. Huge, huge fan. To the point where when it was funny, Karen to this day still calls me Rap Boy. Because when she first met me, I told you I met her at this comedy club called the Comedy Boom. That night, she was driving with her friend Vicky, and she's like, well, what's Lenny's brother like? She's like, oh, he likes rap. He's like a rap boy. Vicky said I was like a rap boy. So to this day, like, Karen's like, oh, rap boy. So, but again, from that era, that's what I loved, man. Fucking, like I said, LL Cool J and Big Daddy Kane. Fucking, I go to work like a doctor. All right, never mind. All right. Kool Moe Dee, all of that. That was one of my earliest jokes, too. I went and saw a rap. It was LL Cool J, Ice-T, Kool Moe Dee, Run DMC. It was the Alphabet Soup Tour, sponsored by Campbell's. That's right, folks. That's right out of fucking mullet, fringe jacket wearing, fake gum chewing Batman T-shirt logo wearing Mike Schmidt. a million years ago at the Laugh Stop. So, God, how did I spin into this? Rappers, black guys. Oh, teach me how to Dougie. Teach me how to Dougie. Teach me. So back when I was a kid, it was all a rapid fire, crazy. Except for Slick Rick. Slick Rick was still rapping, but he was kind of laid back, but he was still busting it out. Whereas now, dude, all rap now that comes out sounds like rap from the '80s, like slowed down. Like if you had a 45 and you played it on 33, that's what it sounds like. By the way, that's for records. Again, people don't know what records are. 45s were like small little black discs. Of vinyl, and then it was like smaller version of an album. Oh Christ, I can't explain all of this to you folks. Catch up. It's not your fault. It's really not your fault that things have changed so quickly and rapidly. But anyway, now rap sounds like a bunch. Like I said, it's all because everybody drinks scissor and everybody drinks purple drink, and then they go and rap on it, and it's all in slow motion. But I was in my car and I heard the song "Teach Me How to Dougie," which I had heard before, but I'd forgotten about it. But this time I fucking ran right into iTunes and I'm like, dude, I got to know. Cause you know what? A, I got to know who sings it. And B, they got to teach me how to Dougie. Teach me how to Dougie. Cause it's just, you know what it is? It's children's music. It really is. I mean, except for the part where the rappers are all high on codeine, but if you listen to it, because it's repetitive, it's like na 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 na. Na 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 na. Teach me how to Dougie. Teach me how to Dougie. I mean, it's children's music. It's all repetitive. It sounds like a goddamn nursery rhyme, and I can't get enough of it. I fucking love it. And it's so funny. People hate it because there was a song "Teach Me How to Jerk," but that's too fast. Like I whatever. All right, so how did I spin into "Teach Me How to Dougie"? Teach me how to Dougie. What was I talking about? We might actually have to go back. This is the perils of having a long story to fucking tell. I just kind of spin around.
No idea.
Yeah, really. I know. I'm lost. So.
The brick houses and the city rats.
Oh, Cinespace. So.
Inception.
Yes. So I'm in the back booth. I don't even know. I still don't know how I got into rap and Teach Me How to Dougie. But Chris is talking. And I'm in the back, and I'm with Alfonso, and then he starts talking about Inception, and I do what any normal 42-year-old, soon-to-be 43-year-old grown man would do. I covered my ears and started humming. And I'm not even joking. I literally did that. I covered my ears, and I'm going. So, because then that's all I hear in my head is myself humming, which, quite frankly, is all I hear all the time, most of it anyway. But I had to do it. Because I don't want to hear anything about Inception. Now, I usually have two different go-to moves. One is cover my ears and hum. The other one is I'll cover my ears and rapidly put my fingers. You know how you cover your ears with your fingers, and you not in your ear, but on the out. That outside part, and do that. Like do it with both. No. Put your finger on that thing, that flap of skin. No, and then push it in, like that. Do it fast.
Oh Christ!
But so I'll do that, and it's just because it sounds like what it sounds like. It sounds like a jet engine or an air conditioner. So I'll do that because then you don't hear a fucking thing. But this time I went the humming route. So I cover my ears. I don't know if he's talking about Inception. I kind of look at Alfonso for the thumbs up. Alfonso's drinking and reevaluating why he would come to my live show. As I cover my ears and hum. And then I've got my eyes closed and I'm humming. And then I open my eyes to look at Chris to see if he's still talking. And the guy at our booth, the other guy next to me, is staring right at me.
Do you blame him?
And I uncover my ears and he goes, "You all right?" I go, "Oh, dude, I haven't seen Inception." And he goes, "What?" And I go, "He's talking about Inception. I haven't seen it yet. I don't want to hear about it." I'm sorry, dude. I didn't even think that was out loud. Like I thought it was like an internal humming monologue, but unfortunately that was loud. And he goes, "Not loud, but I can hear it. You're sitting right next to me." And I go, "Okay." And he goes, "Well, don't worry. I saw Inception, and it's really good. No matter what he said." And I'm like, "Dude, shut the fuck up." But he goes, "It's really good." He's just talking about some of the music and stuff that he didn't like. He goes, "I'm a composer. I don't," and I'm just, "Dude, shut the fuck. I don't care." You know what? I just start humming again. Like, I liked it better when it was me humming, friend. So he's just like, and I go, "All right, I'm good. I'll stop talking. It's fine." So I take my thing out, and Chris is still kind of talking about Inception, but he's moved on to something else, but he keeps referring back to it. I'm just like, "Oh, dude." And then Alfonso, I'm looking at Alfonso, and he kind of jumps up with a start. He's holding a beer bottle, and he looks up and he goes, "Whoa!" I go, "What?" And he goes, "Did you see that?" I go, "No." And he goes, "Look!" And he points up the aisle, and and I see like motion, but I can't really make out what it is. He goes, "Dude, that's a fucking rat." I go, "You're shitting me." He goes, "You didn't see it?" I go, "No, I saw it. Like I saw the motion of it disappearing." He goes, "Dude, it's walking along like the baseboard. I saw it. He goes, "I don't think it was a mouse. It looked like a fucking rat, and it just went up the aisle." And I went, "Dude, that's crazy." Because we're in a booth and it's kind of dark and like my feet are under so now I cross my legs like a lady. Awful. And because I'm gonna lose my mind if something runs over my feet. I just am. I mean, look, this show's gonna blow already. I don't need to bring home fucking the bubonic plague on top of it. So sure enough, the show goes on. He brings up Frank Cana. Frank destroys. He's great. It's really funny. He brings up Betsy. And here's the thing. Betsy Salkind does a bit where she does an impression of a squirrel. It's funny. She literally makes her face. She crouches like a squirrel, and she has these like Weetabix, like these big matzo bricks or something. And that's the whole point of the impression. She gnaws through them and spins them around, and it's just like it looks like a wood chipper because she does it real fast and it gets crazy. It's like a squirrel, and it's funny. So she's like, and she's spinning it around, and like there's food, and I'm looking and I'm like, that rat is gonna go crazy. Like it's just a goddamn, Templeton's gonna have a goddamn buffet right up there under the goddamn mic stand, and I'm next. I'm gonna have to stand ankle deep in Weetabix with fucking vermin swimming around inside of it, having to fill in their vermin bellies. Horrendous. So I'm in the back, and I'm like, "Oh, dude," and I look at Alfonso. I go, "Do you see that rat again?" He's like, "No." And come on, and let's put it this way: if there's one rat, there's a million. There's not just one rat. It's not like Willard and Ben took one out for a vacation and said, "Hey, you want to go see a show?" No. This rat lives there, and he's just scouting to see if you know what? That word was in the rat community. Hey, did you hear Betsy Salkind is coming? Because they got Facebook. The rats know. They got updated. They go, "Hey, is Salkind up yet? Because we want to go eat some Weetabix in our bellies." I don't even know if rats eat matzah. I don't know if they're kosher or not, but who fucking cares? Although Templeton wasn't. Templeton had everything in the goddamn fairgrounds. As Paul Lynde sang his goddamn rat heart out. So I'm like, "Oh, no, I don't want to go there and be angry." So sure enough, I'm next. I go on stage. And I would love to blame my horrible set on the fact that I was worried about rats biting me, but that's not the case. Because I'm worried about rats biting me even when I have a good set. But I go up on stage and I don't want to say anything because again they're nice enough to have me, but I'm who I am. So I go up on stage, I go, "Hey," then I say something, and then I go, "By the way, I just want to warn you folks, I don't know if, there are friends here with us. Look, we have a good crowd. I'm going to tell you that there's a whole sub-crowd you don't know about.
Oh, no.
And I just want you to be careful. If you're wearing sandals, be careful of your feet on the floor. That's all I'm going to say to you folks. Because I didn't want to say there's rats and clear the goddamn room. I'm instead hoping to bomb for 10 minutes before the rats show up. Because apparently I'm that much of a masochist. Why wouldn't I just say, "Hey, there's rats in here," and then everybody fucking runs out, and then I don't have to do a set. I don't have to go through the pain of bombing and worry about the threat of dysentery coming from on high. I go in and I do my set, and I get a couple laughs up top. I do okay, but then it was my fault. I wasn't prepared. Here's what I did stupidly. Like I said, I tried to be podcast Mike, so I thought I'd be able to spin and gain traction, and you guys can listen to me talk and talk and talk and turn me off if you want and come back later to jump into my craziness. But live, these people are just waiting for me to get to a point. You know what I mean? They want, like, that whole bit about Elvis and about finding the side A of music for fighting in a restaurant and all that. I would have never been able to find that because they would just sit there and stare at their nails and sigh while I was trying to get there. Nobody else thinks I'm as nearly as entertaining as I do. Okay. So I go up and I fucking swim in shit for 10 minutes, and I go to the back. I finish my set. My eyes are peeled the whole time, waiting for the onslaught. I'm waiting for the vermin army to advance upon me, and I leave and I go to the back of the room, and I'm in the back, and then I hear like a ruckus, And apparently the rat came back and he ran under a table. He ran over people's feet, and they jumped up and got all crazy. And I left at that point. And Alfonso and I left. We went out to the street, and then Alfonso writes me a note later, and he's being very complimentary. He's like, "Hey man, I like good to see you. Show was great." Because again, he lies because he likes me. And then he writes, he goes, "Can you believe the rat came back a second time? The ball's on Fievel." And I'm like, dude, how the fuck do I not think of the ball's on Fievel? When I'm on stage, how do I not say the ball's on Fievel? But it was just a funny, exclamation. The ball's on Fievel. And let's face it, don't you think really that the people at Disney thought about that? That's when they were going to make an American Tail 2. They wound up getting ridiculous salary demands from his agent. And at one point, someone in that studio just looked and went, "Can you believe the numbers? The ball's on Fievel."
Hi, I'm Brian Noonan, and you're listening to the 40-Year-Old Boy on the Mike Schmidt Podcasting Network. Mike and I actually did a demo together, trying to get a radio job. Well, we know how that worked out for one of us. Enjoy your podcast.
Avert your eyes, sheep! I am Yeep, herald for Thorgar, soldier from the inner ring of the seventh circle of hell! Shoemaker! Thorgar finds his hooves scalded and chafed from wandering the fire pits of his domain. He demands you sheathe his hooves with a fat cloth woven from the hair of 100 virgins! Procure it now!
Yeah, we're not going to have anything like that.
Hold your tongue, cobbler! Thorgar? Thorgar insists that you provide him with sandals fashioned from the skins of recently murdered children! The fresher, the better! Immediately!
We have sandals, but they're leather.
You dare question Thorgar, whose hooves you are not fit to lick? Very well! Thorgar orders you to procure these boots in a men's 10.5!
We don't have half sizes. We can
Enough! Your woeful display here today will not be forgotten. Live the rest of your days in terror, knowing that your death will be met with great celebrations in hell, as your arrival will provide the opportunity to invent unspeakable torments as yet unattempted. Dr. Man, you bow as we leave this place.
Okay.
Thorgar!
Sorry I couldn't help you.
Yes, Thorgar, there is a Payless up the street, certainly. But that's fine. Avert your eyes as I speak to Thorgar! You are not fit to look upon us!
Have to ask, you can't afford it. Lingerie, we made love. And by the seventh wave, she knew she had a problem. That's right, it's the glamorous life, ladies and gentlemen. Sheila E. UHF back in the 80s. Next time, wipe the lipstick off your collar. All right. Yeah, these are all songs from back then. It's funny if there was, because MTV doesn't show videos now, but if they did, they wouldn't show "Teach Me How to Dougie." I'd have to find it on the UHF right there. Teach me how to Dougie. Teach me how to Dougie. All right. That's where I'd see Lisa and Cult Jam. Where else could you see them? You can't see them on MTV. I wonder if I take you home, would you still be in love with me, baby? Because I need you tonight. There's a great ballad on that album. I own that album. All alone on a Sunday morning. All right, I'm gonna hit this note. Brace yourselves. Outside I see the rain is falling. Whoa, whoa. I cannot sing. You know who hates this more than anything? Mex. Because Mex hates when people who can't sing try to sing. And they did, it's so funny, he invented a band called the Crazy Cats. And it was him and my buddies Jeff and Brian. And I always secretly wanted to be asked to be like on the Crazy Cats and like sing, but I know he's just like, dude, you are horrible. Like, and he wouldn't even like, not even as a goof or for fun, like where they would let me do it, because he'd just be like, because again, he can't auto-tune me. He'd be like, dude, you sound fucking horrendous. Like, I can't put you on there. And so I never asked because I didn't want to be told no, because I knew I would be told no, because Mex actually cares about making music good. And it's funny, he did the Crazy Cats album. He did an album called Stuck in the 70s with Brian and Jeff. And they did a bunch of 70s songs, too. They did a reggae version to Detroit Rock City. It was fucking awesome. Oh, wow. Don't say, oh, wow, like you care. But, I do. Oh, okay. Well, it was good.
That's
it was great.
sugar
And then he did it was, you know what, this is when he was first learning how to do stuff. They did What's Going On. He did What's Going On by Marvin Gaye, and he recorded them all doing different voices. And then he mixed them together in like a party scene, like the party scene and What's Going On. But it's Brian and Jeff and Max, and they're all doing different voices. And he sped up there, you know, he's like them like real deep. I'm kidding you. I said I was kidding. Like he mixes their voices, so it's like you see. And he also did Papa Was a Rolling Stone, like they were live. He dubbed in a crowd, and he dubbed in like boom, 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 like beating of like the bass drum, and he doo doo like bass, like they were doing a sound check, and then he did an actual announcement of, hey, there's a car with its lights on in the parking lot, and then they actually did Papa Was a Rolling Stone, and I was never asked. I was asked to listen to them because that's the extent of my musical talent, is I can listen to it well. I do really good at listening to music. All right. I am in pain, folks. I can tell you that. Most of my body is in pain. I can tell you from working out. What? Why you want me to, I can't. That's silly. I can't do that. All right.
You
So
have to.
why? I can't do that. People don't care.
I will edit everything out.
Why? She said, Lily is threatening me. She's making threats, folks. Apparently, she's becoming autonomous. Lily has become self-aware. Run for your lives. Lily is like Hal, and she's like, tell the abuse of your cock story, Dave. And I'm like, all right, I guess so. But I'm in pain, is what I'm saying to you folks, because I've started working out. Rocky with the Blog started in earnest. And you can go to my website and read all about my first session with Sean. And then I worked out last night with Sean. And I was in the gym. And it was so funny. Sean has all these unconventional training methods. Like he's got, we throw boulders, like literal boulders. And there's a slosh pipe, which actually that gets to my cock story. No. No, but we have to work out with a slosh pipe, and then there's TRX bands and things like that. But then I told him, because again, it was all kind of passive. I mean, it's you're still working hard, and you're building up a sweat. But I told Sean, I go, dude, let me tell you something. I like violence. I like anything violent, and anything violent that you can think of for me to do to, that would help me lose weight. Let's do it. And he's like, all right, well, when we were in the gym, we can do that, because at this gym they have like an MMA class. So it was just me and him. So I show up yesterday, and it's got, it's got heavy bags and mitts and stuff. So I brought my gloves, and then even better, it's got those human-sized dummies that you can just fucking mount and throw elbows on until you pass out. Oh, dude, awesome. Unfortunately, here's the thing. Sean Richardson is my trainer. At the end of this, I'll give you his links and things like that, as I will every week now. And you can go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com and go to Rocky with the Blog and follow the progress. I didn't weigh in yet because they don't have equipment yet to weigh fat guy. They did. I weighed in yesterday, and we did a BMI and all that kind of stuff. There's no way it's right. He weighed me in, and I'm like, there's no way I weigh that. It's not possible. So I have to go to a real scale and weigh myself and figure out exactly what it is. Because the weight that he came up with was about 30 pounds less than I think I am. And because I weighed 340 a while ago. When I first wrote the thing about Rocky with the Blog, it was the first entry I wrote last year, and he weighed me in, and I was at around 310, 315. There's no way I've lost 25, 30 pounds. There's no way. I mean, Karen's like, I think you have, and I'm like, no, trust me. I carry it around. There's no way I lost that kind of weight because I've done nothing. So there's no way I could have lost that weight. But who knows? We'll see. So I have to go, but once I weigh myself in, I'll post my BMI and all that, and we can follow it on Rocky with the Blog. And not that you care, folks. You got your own problems. You got kids and everything else. But if you're curious, what the fuck? Go to Rocky with the Blog. And then I'll plug at the end. I'll give you Sean's information. But I went yesterday to the gym, and it was, again, unconventional stuff. It's great hitting a tire with a sledgehammer and slosh pipe and throwing boulders and ropes, rope work where but anyway, the bottom line is I jumped right in. I didn't even stretch. Like I just jumped right in and started working out. So the first time I did it was last Thursday. It was the first workout I had, and it was great. We were out in out in God's gym, out in the Lord's gym, because Sean is a religious guy. So I will tell you, he's not listening to the show. He's already made that very clear, which is good for him, because I don't know if he'd want to still talk to me, let alone train me after hearing this goddamn show. Although the Lord must love me. I embrace black people from all eras. Sure enough, I jumped in and worked out hard. We just did a ton of squats and throwing boulders overhead and throwing them backwards, and then throwing a sandbag, like a 15-pound sandbag over my shoulder, over a branch of a tree, and for height, and all unconventional, weird workouts at the Lord's gym. So which was great. Like I said, though, I did not stretch before or after. So I went home and got in the shower. Karen and I went out and had some sushi that night. I was like, this is awesome. Let's celebrate and have some sushi. And the next 3 days were spent not walking, having trouble getting up because my legs felt like fucking pounded veal, like I'd been run over by a steamroller, like in a cartoon, and they were completely flat. So I had to do. The good news is I got a bunch of upper body workout because I had to push myself off of every fucking chair I was sitting in, or lean and somehow. So I got a lot of pec workouts because I was pulling myself out of chairs. So and the good news, so then I was supposed, because I was going to run like over the weekend, like I was going to work out with him on Thursday and do cardio Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I couldn't even walk, let alone run. So then I went out and I wound up being better by yesterday, which is when I was meeting him at the gym for the first time, and we did kettlebells and throw a medicine ball up, for height, and it was fun. It was interesting. Again, all unconventional, no real weights. So what I'm going to have to do is fill in weights around the workouts with him. I'm going to have to treat the 2 days a week with Sean like I did when I was working out with the trainer. I worked with the trainer 3 days, and then I did mixed martial arts 2 or 3 days a week, Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu and stuff like that. So I'll have to look at the 2 days with Sean as like the Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, cardio type of stuff, and then I'll have to mix in my weight work around it, I suppose. But first things first is I'll have to stretch because Jesus Christ, I could not stand up. So I'm in pain now. I'm gobbling fucking Tylenol the last 2 days because I fucked up my traps by throwing the medicine balls and throwing elbows. And it's that weird, again, I'm old, folks. I don't even understand. I'll be 43 tomorrow. So I'm like, I'm old and getting older. But it's that weird thing where you just wind up, like I said, I've done this before where I've turned my head to pull out of a parking space and tweaked my trap. So imagine what it's like if you're fucking, you've mounted a dummy and you're throwing elbows on it over and over. And that's the thing is it's like, 10 right elbows, 10 left elbows, and then body head, and then hooks and fucking violence, which is great. But at the same time, I got to fucking realize I'm getting old. But that's the point is I want to get into shape. So when I'm old, I'm not decrepit old and can't move. I'd rather just be old like the rest of you. All right. So I'll plug Sean later. But so I'm in pain for that. And I'm also in pain. Here's the story, folks. All right, so my wife was out of town, as I mentioned. Then she came back, and we decided, hey, I haven't seen you in 4 days. Do you still like sex? I do. So we decided to hop in and go at it. Well, so we go at it, whatever. That's fine. She's home. Everything's great. So the next morning, she winds up, she's going to go to work. So we're going to round 2 or 3 in the morning, and she can't. She doesn't have time. So instead, hello, fancy hand job. I think we all know that I am a fan. And my wife is on board with doing it. If that's what I want, fine, whatever. And it's so funny. Like all right, let's get to this, folks. No, I can't get to that. All right, never mind. Let's continue on the path. I can't talk about this. So so fancy hand job's on deck, and we're ready to, everything's fine, and fancy hand job, engage. So it's happening, and I'm in bed, and then there's oil, and everything's good, and we're fancy hand job and all this stuff. So finally, fancy hand job culminates in the ending you would expect it to culminate in. Let's put it that way. But during fancy hand job, I'm looking at Karen, and Karen's looking at me, and it's not there. Because, we'd both be bored out of our minds if you just stared at your cock. You can't do that. So you have to at least there has to still be at least some sort of sexual element to it. So I'm making eye contact with her, and it's all and that kind of stuff. And there's some talking going on. Things are happening. So so fancy hand job finishes, and my wife's like looking at me, and we look down, and this is a horrible fucking story. I don't even know why I'm telling you. There's blood. Okay. On my wife's hand, and she's like, "Oh my God!" And oh, Jesus. I will tell you this about fancy hand job. There's oil and stuff involved, but I'm not averse to getting a little rough. All right, I don't mind. So I didn't really pay any attention to what was happening. I'm still concentrating, talking to my wife, and then because I will tell you this: fancy hand job is all predicated to get my wife out the door to work faster. Because I'm concentrating. I'm trying to, fancy hand job is not for leisure, because then you're Mandy Pepperidge in Animal House, all right? Because then you're Greg Marmalade at up on the point overlooking the city lights while you get a hand job and you can't get off. You know what I mean? Then you're inconveniencing a woman if you don't concentrate during a hand job, because you're trying to, because a hand job, you're just trying to get off. So I'm concentrating and it's getting a little rough, and I don't care. I don't mind. I'm fine. So my wife looks down. There's blood on her hand. There's blood. My wife was getting ready for work and was going to do fancy hand job with her wedding rings on.
Oh God.
And her wedding rings. Let me describe my wife's wedding rings for you. One of them is gorgeous. It's a platinum ring, and it's got a canary yellow diamond on the top, and it's surrounded by diamonds on the outside. That was an antique ring that she had. But her other ring was her engagement ring, which is what I got her, is a platinum eternity band with diamonds all the way around it.
Yeah.
So it's essentially, you know what it looks like, folks? A diamond-studded bottle cap.
Yeah.
From like the old days when you would pop a Pepsi bottle cap off, or a beer top, a twist top. Yeah, it's not serrated, but it's platinum and diamonds. I mean, it's not exactly spongy. So
God.
I wind up. It looks like I finally get a closer look, and my wife gets a closer look, and she's like, "Oh no!" And we look. It looks like I fucked a porcupine. It looks like my dick opened the cube in Hellraiser, and the Cenobites put all those hooks through it. That's what it looks like. It looks like my dick opened up the cube in Hellraiser, and Pinhead showed up, and all the hooks went into my cock and strung it up. Because it's not just like a nick. I mean, it's beat to shit. My cock looks like it's been in a hockey fight. Someone just grabbed it by the collar and went hockey fight on it and landed fucking punches with its ring hand. So, I mean, and again, you're in the moment. It's like any athlete. Okay, when you get injured in an athletic competition, you fight through it. I did it at the gym. I felt my traps get tweaked, and I felt my fucking back go, and I'm like, fuck it, fight through it. I stretch through it, and you pound, and you just fucking throw punches, and you kicks, and you fucking fight through it. Well, during fancy hand job, I felt a little tug. I felt a little scratch. I might have felt a little back and forth. I'm like, fuck it, fight through it. Get through this. Concentrate so your wife can go to work. Because I'm just trying to get her out the door, folks. But then we look down, and unfortunately, it looks like someone took scalpels and played tic-tac-toe on my cock. So, honestly, if my cock was in a comic book, you would have drawn it in a cloud of smoke with a bunch of ampersands and number signs coming out of it. It looked like a fight. My cock looked like it had been in a comic book fight. So, I looked down, and there's blood. There's blood on the sheets and on my wife's hand, and I'm just like, oh. She's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I go, that's okay. I mean, it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Who cares? She's like, I gotta go to work, and I go, don't worry about it, hon. It's not a problem. She gets up, and she, washes her hands off, and she leaves, and we're gonna change the linen because my bed looks like a crime scene at this point. And then I get up, and I'm like, oh, okay. And it doesn't hurt until about 20 minutes later when it starts to wear off. You know what I mean? You start to, and then it's just, oh my God, it's just, it feels like you know what? That's horribly graphic. I won't say that. But it does not feel good. Let's put it that way. It does not feel good. And so now I'm in the bathroom in front of a mirror, holding it and turning it around and looking and trying to figure out how to fix it. And so I don't know what to do. Like Because if I put like some sort of cream or something on there, then the whole thing's just going to start all over again. But luckily I don't have rings on. So I'm like, well, it'll heal. It'll be fine. It's not going to be a problem. So I go to take a shower. All right. It's also, I will tell you this, folks. Before I get in the shower, it's shaving day. All right. So I figure, well, what the hell? It makes sense to do it now. Because that's, like I said, it's going to be completely, it's on the shelf now anyway. I mean, my cock's been in a bar fight. It's going on the disabled list. So why not go ahead and get all the trimming out of the way? Because that can get a little hinky too, as far as nicks and I've talked about that before, where I've wound up, I've had to sit there and almost bleed out. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to run the trimmer. And everything's going to be fine. I'm going to go ahead, sit down, run the trimmer. Because again, I don't have to. You don't run the trimmer on the all of the parts that are cut up are not going to be in contact with the trimmer. So let's put it that way. Everything around it is going to be. So the way it has to work is I have to take the trimmer, I have to get in the bathtub, and you got to trim in there because otherwise it's on the. Folks, I don't know how you run your ball shaving, but this is how I do mine. So I get the trimmer and I'm like, all right, well, like I get in there and I it's a dry trimmer, so I have to do it that way. It's not, because what you do is you trim dry, and then you bring in the actual razor and you shave. All right, so that's how you do it. So I take the trimmer and I start trimming, and I'm right-handed, so it's awkward because you're sitting in the shower. Because I will tell you, I'm not in the bathtub itself. I have an actual shelf like next to so that you can sit down and kind of recline. So all right, fantastic. So I sit down and I got the trimmer in my right hand, and again, it's a hard angle, but you have to go from the bottom up, and so I start on the right hand side because I'm right-handed, as opposed to reaching across and going left-handed. And also, I will tell you, a lot of the damage that had been done by fancy hand job is on the left-hand side of my cock. So I'm going to let that breathe a little bit, let it relax, and work on the right-hand side, so I can start losing blood on both sides. Apparently, that's what's important to me. So I start trimming, and I'm trimming up from the, wherever you trim from. I don't want to, again, folks, if you've done this, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't want to hear it, but who cares? So you start low, and you slide up with the trim, and I'm trimming. And as I'm trimming, the trimmer powers down. It just stops. And I pick it up and I shake it. And I should tell you, I've been having trouble with it taking a charge. It takes a charge okay, but then you have to keep it plugged in sometimes. It's just, the battery, there's something wrong with it. So I kind of shake it, and I have to empty it anyway because it's there's a, whatever, you get it. So so I go and I plug it in, it takes the charge, and then I pull it over, it's like, and it grinds down again. It stops. So I finally bring the plug over, and then I actually get a surge protector and plug it in so that I can do it while. Literally, I have an octopus. I have 9 plugs involved to shave my balls. So I'm sitting there. I've got the surge protector plugged into the wall, and then I have the trimmer plugged into the surge protector. And there's like 4 cords leading into the bathtub, and I pick it up again, and I start to. Now it just quits. Plugged into the wall, plugged into the surge protector, the entire thing just fucking dies. And I look down, and I'm Solomon Grundy, folks. Because only the right-hand side is shaved. Only the right-hand side, and it's gone. I mean, it's all trimmed off, like, right-hand side, right ball, right, taint, everything up top. It's gone. It's a clean split. I have a Two-Face cock. That's what I got. Two-Face from Batman. I trimmed neatly the right-hand side, and before I could get to the left, it quit on me. So I come to you today with a Solomon Grundy cock. I'm half and half until I can get a new trimmer and complete the rest. Poor Solomon Grundy. So like I said, so now I got blood, and then I got I've got half of it. My cock's a war zone at this point. The entire area, the whole the whole crotch area. And I'm wearing. It's funny. I wore shorts today because. All right. Well, wait. I'll get to that in a second. So sure, I'm like, I'm half like the right side is clean. It's gone, and then the left side is a hippie. It's like, you know what? I've got half an establishment and half a hippie cock. That's what I've got right now. I've got San Francisco in the 60s right in my shorts right now. I've got Riot Cop on the left, and he's holding his gun, and then I've got hippie on the right, and he's putting a flower in the barrel of the left cock's gun. That's what he's doing. Jesus Christ, it's awful. It feels crazy weird too, because I'm walking and like the right side is kind of like smooth, and then the left side is normal, and it's just this weird. I'm waiting for it to catch fire because like one side is like clean and the other side is rubbing against one another. I'm waiting for it to just go up in complete fucking flames. And so then I'm mad. Like, so now I'm gonna have to come about the whole shaving aspect. I should just do the bottom all the way, go bottom to top instead of right to left, because if this ever happens again, then the bottom will be done. God forbid it happens again. I know. I agree. So now let's recap. I've got a cock that looks like it's been dragged through broken glass. And then I've got, like I said, half hippie and half establishment on the rest of the outfit. So I'm just sitting there, I'm laughing. I'm like, well, fuck, what else could happen? So I get out of the bathtub, I just brush and floss. You know what I mean? Like I floss, I brush my teeth, and I turn the shower on, and then I use mouthwash. So it's funny, during the day I have to use blue mouthwash, and at night I use a different mouthwash, whatever. My dentist, his rules. So I put blue mouthwash in my mouth, and I get in the shower. And I lean back, and what I do is I rinse my mouth out, and then I bring mouthwash into the shower in my mouth. And all right, here's what I used to do. I have a mirror, that is a shaving mirror. I'm an idiot, folks. So I will rinse my mouth with the mouthwash, and I'll through all the teeth and in the front, and then I will lean back and I'll let the hot water run on my hair, and then I'll lean forward and I make a mean face at the mirror, and I spit all the mouthwash at the mirror. Because I'm a tough guy. Apparently, I'm a tough guy, and I want to intimidate myself in the mirror. But I'll lean back with the hot water, and I'll lean forward with the water running down my face, and I'll go, poof, and I'll spit the mouthful of mouthwash at the shaving mirror and make a mean face. And then I take a nice, happy shower. But I did that a couple weeks ago, and as I did it, I spit into and all of the mouthwash bounced off the shaving mirror into my eyes.
Ooh.
Which burns. So my eyes were burning, and I'm like, oh, stupid. Just what, to make a mean, tough face? Who are you intimidating? Nobody? So I said, you can't do that anymore, dummy. So the last couple of weeks, all I do is I'll lean back, and I'll let the hot water run on my face, and then I'll gurgle, and then I'll just spit it in the air. And it just comes out, and it runs, down my chest or whatever. So that's fine. So I can't spit it at the mirror anymore. So I get in the shower, and I got the mouthwash, and I lean back, and I let the hot water. And I lean forward, and I open my mouth, and I just let all the mouthwash run out of my mouth instead of spitting it, because I don't want it to get in my eyes. So I let it drool basically out of my mouth. I open my mouth, and it rolls down, and it rolls down my chest, and it rolls down my stomach, and it goes right on my cock, which has about 40 cuts on it from fancy hand job with diamond ring. Folks, if you thought that minty mouthwash burned your eyes, go ahead and chop up some cuts into your hand and pour the mouthwash on there, and then imagine that it's your cock.
Oh, God.
So my cock is like half shaved, and he's all cut up, and now the mouthwash gets on there, and it just starts, burning, folks. Like, it's, I can't even, I think my cock actually just looked up at me and went, we quit. My cock and balls are just like, you know what, buddy? We're retiring. We're moving to fucking Florida. You can make do without us with all the shit you put us through today. Because it starts burning, and I'm taking a hot shower like there's nothing, and I'm just like, oh, fuck, oh my God. And I can't, it's not like soap can go on. So I immediately, and I turn around, and I lean back to let the water hit it, and that just makes it worse because it's hot water and then the mouthwash. So then I just I kill the hot water, and crazy cold shower, and I just fucking grab everything, and I hold it up like underneath the shower water. I'm just holding the whole, I got balls in one hand and cock in the other, and I'm just holding it, just like rinsing it out. And I look down, and the funny thing is, it's like you look down and there's blue mouthwash and red blood like running off and hair. Literally, it's all blue and red and hairy in the bathtub. You know what it looks like? It looks like I murdered Cookie Monster in the bathtub. As blue fur with red blood runs down the drain. You guys can get me at MikeandMikeSchmidtComedy.com. You guys can get me at Facebook.com/the40year-old-boy. You guys can follow me at Twitter.com/the40year-old-boy, or you can go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com to the You Guys Can Get Me At page, and there's links and pictures and fun stuff there for you to go through. Why do you mock? Because I keep sending people to 9 different places. Oh, sure, Cookie Monster. Yeah. I just don't even like to talk about Muppets and cock in the same sentence. That's not fun. Oh, is it? All right, for you, maybe it is. That's our friend Lily Von Stupp. You can follow her at twitter.com/Lily Von Stupp. You can follow her at twitter.com/MNTs. And if you want to write her a note that involves Muppet cock in some way, go ahead and write her at burlesque411.com. That's Lily, Lili, at burlesque411.com.
Zazzle.com/40year-old-boy. Please buy all his stuff.
Want to remind you folks about the Monday Night Teas every Monday night at the 3 clubs on Santa Monica and Vine, 10 o'clock every Monday night. Hey, Lily.
Hey, Waddy.
Who's joining us this week for the Monday Night Teas?
It's going to be a show you'll hate.
Why? Will there be somebody there to teach me how to Dougie? Teach me how to Dougie. Teach me how to Dougie. Teach me how to Dougie. Everybody love it. Everybody love it. Everybody love it. Everybody love it. That's right. That guy's never met a V in his life. Everybody. Because I listened to the clean version. Because you know what's funny? I went to the iTunes store. They had the dirty version and the clean version, and I heard the explicit version. And I honestly like the clean version better. Weird. It's weird that that's the case. There's another song like that too. You ever heard the song "Tipsy" by I think it's by Is it Fabulous? He also does not enjoy V's. Everybody in the club getting tipsy. Everybody in the club getting tipsy. And I'm like, I heard that song originally, and then I went and I listened to the explicit version. I'm like, oh no. So I had to buy the cleaner version because that's the one I listened to and I really liked. So same thing with Dougie.
And how often do you play it?
Oh my God, every day. Listen, I embrace black people from all eras. I embrace black music from all eras. Everybody in the club's getting tipsy. I want to know about it. Everybody love it. Everybody love it. Teach me how to Dougie. Teach me how to Dougie. God damn, it's children's music, but it's awesome. I can't stop listening to it. So who's at the Monday Night Teas on Monday?
We have Baggy Pants Comedy.
Of course you do.
Yes, and we have blackout scenes happening all night long.
I embrace blackout scenes from all eras.
Fuck. Oh, we have Fitzgerald.
Okay.
Regular at the Magic Castle. Amazing performer. We have 6 fabulous strippers, and then we also have the Striptease Symposium All-Stars.
Okay.
They are the graduating class of the local stripping school.
Really? The local I like the way you say the local stripping school, as if every community has one.
Almost everyone does now. It's amazing how many burlesque schools there are out there. But so it's going to be a fabulous show. We've got 22 in the cast.
Okay. Wow, it's a big show.
It's a huge show.
So that's the Monday Night Teas this coming Monday at the 3 clubs in Santa Monica and Vine at 10 o'clock. And remember, the Tarantino show's coming up, too, in August. Please get your tickets now through Brown Paper Tickets, or you can go to Burlesque 411, right, and get information there about the Tarantino show. So go to burlesque411.com. And, you know what? Also, let me tell you about this, folks. I never even brought this up. I've known about this a while and forgot to talk about it. There's a site called burlesquebears.com that I forgot to mention. Burlesque Bears, BEARS. Our friend Lily makes burlesque teddy bears. Like, you know how they have those Vermont teddy bears? Well, imagine if those were all sluts.
That's very true.
Imagine if the Vermont teddy bears were sluts. You can get those from Lily at burlesquebears.com. She's got all these different, and they all have a cute little backstory, and they all come with little like fans and G-strings and stuff. I'm absolutely not. I'm upset I didn't bring it up earlier. So go to Burlesque Bears 411, burlesquebears.com and pick up a cute little burlesque bear. Lily sells them and does very well, and I always forget to mention it. I'm so dumb. But it's a neat, other than the fact that it uses Comic Sans as the font, it's a cool site. And but it's got every bear's got like a backstory, like a little description, and a lot of work went into it. So go to burlesquebears.com and pick up a cute burlesque bear for your for the stripper in your family, or get one for all the graduates from the local stripping school that I've heard so much about in everybody's community, as Lily has told me about. So go ahead and pick those up. So go to burlesquebears.com. I also want to remind you guys, if you need a trainer, go to realworldfit.com and contact Sean Richardson. He is doing everything he can to whip me into shape at Rocky with a blog. Also go to twitter.com/realworldfit if you want to follow Sean. He actually twittered about our first session, so go ahead and check him out. I want to plug, there's a couple of shows. There's a show called the Speedway Squad podcast, folks. Some friends of the show. They are Chris Woods is one of the guys on the show, and he's a listener. He heard last week's Evil Rainbow Eye episode, and he sent us chill packs. He sent Lily and I these are chill packs that are you can get them through Comedy Film Nerds. God, I'm plugging everybody. ComedyFilmNerds.com sells chill packs, and they're these things that keep your computer cool in case it gets overworked, and it keeps it from overheating. Well, Chris Woods was nice enough from Speedway Squad podcast. First of all, check out the show. Very funny, good show. They haven't done one since May, because two of the guys in the show have gone off. One of them's making a movie, and another one got another gig. So they're get them before they were famous, is my point. So go listen to Speedway Squad podcast. They sent us these chill packs, and I should just put one on my balls, quite frankly. It came in handy this week. I should just go ahead and chill it up and then throw it right on my nuts. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate you hooking me up with that. I want to tell you guys again, in San Francisco, August 20th and 21st, I will be in San Francisco doing the 40-Year-Old Boy Success is Not an Option. I will have 2 shows in Los Angeles. I do not have venues just yet. Once I have venues, dates, and times, I will tell you. I will Twitter. I will put it on my Facebook, and I will also announce it on the show. And quite frankly, next week's show will be the time I have to announce it, because we're getting down to the wire here. And those will only be workshop sets. They will probably be me just doing stand-up and also workshopping and telling stories that might go into the show itself. They won't be the actual show. Later on, I'll be doing the Success is Not an Option show here in Los Angeles, because it's going to be, dude, it's a growing thing. I mean, even the show that I do in San Francisco will be different from the finished version, but it's so come on out to San Francisco, August 20th and 21st. Tickets are available now. There'll be a link on my Facebook page. You can go to Brown Paper Tickets and get the tickets for that. But also remember that, like I said, I will have a couple of shows here in Los Angeles that hopefully you can come to and check out. They'll be more stand-up oriented, but that would be cool if you could come. Remember to join the Westside 86 Jokers. That's the fan page on Facebook, started by my friend and listener Adam. Go ahead and follow and be a friend there. Also, remember the Zazzle store. We're still selling Zazzle stuff. We should put your burlesque bears in the Zazzle store. Yeah, we should. Oh, it's like, no, I'm cutting out. Oh, we can't do that. That's right. That's not the way it works. I'm dumb. But go there and get a Stripple shirt and a mug and a Facebook, or a Facebook. Yeah. Get a Stripple shirt, get a Facebook, I want to say face mug. I keep saying the wrong thing. Oh, and a mouse pad. Dummy.
Get a rat pad.
Huh?
Get a rat pad.
Yeah, exactly. Get rat poison. We get 40-year-old boy rat poison to save yourself. My plugs have been scattershot. Oh, and also, I'll mention this. There are some listeners to the show who it was a longtime listener, a guy named Michael, who started his own podcast and is now doing the podcast in earnest. He's got a co-host named Sandra D. Sanchez. It's Michael M. Michaels and Sandra D. Sanchez, and they do the Return to Sender podcast. It's called Return to Sender Podcast, Junk Mail of the Mind, but it's at iTunes. You can find them on Facebook too, the Return to Sender podcast. They mentioned me on their show last week. First, we had a correspondence, and they were very nice, and Michael has always been very complimentary to me. And then they asked me if they could mention, because I wrote them back, and then they said, can we talk about this on our show? And I go, yeah, I guess so. I mean, I don't know why you want to talk about me sending you a note, but they did. So then I listened to it last week, and they mentioned us, and they were very complimentary about the show. Michael does a great job hosting, and he's got Sandra, who I wrote her. Sandra reminds me of me. She's like a chick, but she won't hesitate to say anything at all about anybody or anything. So, and I admire that trait. So go listen to their show. It's a funny show, and it's out of Winnipeg, Canada, Return to Sender podcast. But and again, Rocky with the Blog started. I'll be updating that pretty regularly on my website. Go to the Rocky with the Blog page at MikeSchmidtComedy.com. And while you're there, again, go to visit all the places, visit the gallery page. I'll be, mixing and matching photos. I haven't yet because I've tried to get a body of work underneath it, but hopefully we can do that soon. It's funny, now that Rocky with the Blog has started, I have to abandon a lot of things like candy, which is Very difficult. I'm not going to lie to you. So difficult, in fact, that I have gone to Trader Joe's in the past week just to count candy colors and to actually, because that was the most fun part of it was the game part, like was finding the packages and looking through and that was the fun part, and then getting home and sorting them, and then the eating part, of course, was also fun. But mainly, it was all about the victory of, Mike Toomey and I used to go out. We had to go find action figures for his kids, and we would search. We would go on the road, and we would search like 4 different places in a day, and it was such a victory when you found the thing you were looking for. So now I go to Trader Joe's, and I'm just counting the white candies and now I separate them just in case I have a relapse. I hide them. Like I hide them way in the back. All the good ones I put in the back, and then I put the bad candies in the front. It's terrible, folks. Well, I told a story on here a couple of weeks ago that my wife, whenever I would do it, she would talk to the Trader Joe's employees and tell them what I was doing. Well, there was a lady who got involved in my candy zone a few weeks ago, but then there was an old English guy that I didn't tell you about. Karen wound up talking to him about pot stickers for fucking 10 minutes while I'm looking at candy because we're in the frozen foods aisle. And then he's like, oh, what are you doing? And I had to tell him, unfortunately, what I was doing because Karen brought him over. So now this past week, I've gone in there like 3 times just to count. And he's come over to me all 3 times. This Englishman comes wandering over. He floats in with a parasol because he's Mary Poppins. He comes in. He's eating his fish and chips and his bangers and mash. And he comes over and he's like, oh, looking for all the white ones, are we? And I'm like, oh, my, get the fuck up. Why? Why do I have to explain myself? So then I look at the guy and I'm like, yeah, but... and he goes, oh, yes, I think they should just separate the white ones and put them in a different thing. And I go, nah, but that would, that takes away the hunt. And he looks at me weird, and I go, no, half the fun is sorting it out and trying to find the white one. Because now I'm trying to explain my crazy to the guy. And again, I told you, I did this with the woman a few weeks ago, and I just wanted to run away. But this English guy, he won't, he's awkwardly like clinging to me, like he won't, and he wants me to explain it. He's actually interested in it. The other lady was just like, you're nuts? This guy's like, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, the whole hunt is going through and trying to get the least oranges and the most whites. So it's not just about getting more whites. Like if you get 35 oranges and 20 whites, it's still kind of a loss because you've got 35 oranges. And he doesn't glaze over. This guy locks into my fucking crazy. And he's like, oh, I see what you're saying. So if you were to get all the whites in one container, then you'd be very disappointed because you didn't get the thrill of being able to count them. And I'm like, yeah. And I smile like this guy gets it. And then part of me just goes, oh no, this guy gets it. That's not good at all. This guy's just as fucking crazy as I am. So I go, yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. He's like, oh, well, I don't want to bother you. Go ahead and continue your hunt. And he walks off. So I told you I'm not buying them anymore. So I count them all and I make the separate and I put the things in the back and then I walk away and I go to check out. And he's like, where's your candy? And I said, oh, well, I can't buy it now. I'm just trying to get off of eating it. So I came here just to sort it. And he goes, what? And I said, yeah, I just came here to count the whites and then the least oranges. And then I stacked them over there. I stacked them in the back. I put the ones with most of the whites and in the front of the ones with most of the oranges. So I just came to arrange them in like that stack. And it was so great because he made a face that made me realize he's not as crazy as me. Like he was crazy in the aisle, but now that I explained to him, no, I didn't come here to buy any candy. I just came to arrange and sort it in from back to front so I know where the good ones are. And he made a face that was just like, this guy is crazier than I thought. So it was good to know that my crazy still overpowered his crazy, even though his crazy tried to match my crazy. When I got in line to check out, bullshit, crazy poker, I fucking dropped a royal flush of crazy on him, and there was nothing he could do about it, goddammit. Why do I spit out this random bullshit that nobody fucking cares about? I am peddling obscenity. I am going to get a whole fucking army of you people, and you know what we're going to do? We're going to listen to me and then do nothing for an entire fucking week. I can't be trusted. Don't you people know this? It was like the Back to the Future of suck. I don't want to have a boner in somebody else's pants. I need to shoot up heroin and jog. Hey, ass fuck, are you listening to anything that I'm saying to you? Fuck, somebody's got to shut that old guy up. And I'm like, fuck you! I'm not a potato! I'm a goddamn cantaloupe! Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike.